Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is RaveGal. I want to do something a little different today because I got this nifty new controller. It is a Buffalo Classic USB controller, recommended by the people who made Shovel Knight. And it is pretty sweet. This is Blaster Master. Blaster Master is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely one of the games I loved when I was a kid, and it is one of the better platformers I've ever played. I think it's one of the reasons that I love the Metroidvania genre so much. That whole idea of exploring and, you know, kind of going out of order and doing what seems best instead of, you know, doing what you think would work, seeing if it works, and then, you know, succeeding or not. One of the cool things about it, as you can see here, is you can get your little guy out of the tank and go into these underworld areas that let you explore, that let you build up, and that's also where all the bosses are. While you're here, you've got your little gun, and you've got grenades. You can get items that power up your gun to give you things like long range, really obnoxious curved shots, and then eventually just this giant Gatling gun that shoots through walls. And looks like a rainbow. Normally if I'm playing through, like casually, I'll go down here and, basically you can sit there and go in and out of that door over and over again and get additional power up for your gun until you max it out. You can kind of just farm it right there because it's pretty easy as long as you don't get hit. Okay, we're gonna go to this little underwater section. In addition to your power-ups as a guy, you also get power-ups you can use as the tank, including this lightning bolt, which is random where it lands, resulting in me doing what I just did. But if you see me go into the sub-menu, that's why. So there's lightning bolt, which shoots down. I went down here to pick up some homing missiles because they're pretty nifty for clearing out enemies that are in weird locations. And for the sake of showing you, I'll go ahead here and grab the triple missiles. Oh, I don't know if I have a spot to use them right now. I made a spot. Okay. I didn't mention it before, but one of the reasons that I love Blaster Master, and I hope that you enjoy it for that purpose as well, is the music is phenomenal. I love the music tracks for it. I mean, it has the limitations of an NES game, but which, you know, it's only got so much of a track, and it's got this really, you know, limited instruments and stuff, but overall, this game has a very complex soundtrack for what it is. Same reason I love the ActRaiser soundtrack so much. You know, they did so much with so little, and, like, any remixed versions I've heard of this game are pretty much amazing across the board because the composition is what was so good with the music. Okay. Okay, we're gonna slowly work through these spikes in the ground. If you didn't notice, so the gun is nice, but the grenades are really what work in this section. They do a ton of damage. The trick is just hitting things with them. And we're at the boss. First boss is pretty straightforward. It's this kind of weird brain thing with fireballs rotating around it. And it's dead. Again, the grenades go a long way. Just dodging and mashing. And we get an upgrade for our tank, which will now let us progress to the next level. The Hyper Shot. You can see there are all the different slots for nifty new things. Once we get up here, I'll also notice, so these guys were taking 2 shots earlier, now they take 1. We got this cannon upgrade, and that's what it does. Minor thing with that, I do wish they had like spaced out the cannon upgrades, because the second power-up we're going to get is also a cannon upgrade, and after that there's nothing, so would have been kind of a neat way to do it, especially given how the game is structured. So, this guy, this face in the wall, is the reason that we had to go get that item first. You can't beat him until you get the hyper power-up. And that lets us get into the next area. These little worm dudes are really obnoxious. Basically have to hit them as they fall, because your tank normally shoots right over them. Which is, so, careful missile placement or shooting them as they're in the air is pretty much your only option for killing them. I didn't really mention it in level 1, but I mentioned a little bit with the exploring. The levels in this game are huge. Same kind of thing as DuckTales, where if they'd added more to force you to explore, which the remake did, go a long way. And if it's your first time playing and you don't know the path to take, you can wander around for a long time before you figure out where you're going. There's a lot of those little doors that your guy can go in throughout the level. There was another one down in the water area I went to get the homing missiles. There's another one in the... there's several paths along this way that I'm basically walking past or not taking. And most of them are pretty, like, require you to go a pretty good ways out of your way before you go in this door, before you explore this whole little sub-area, and you might get some power-ups out of it. Obviously, I don't know the route for every single level. There's a few that I'm less familiar with. I knew that guy was there, and I did not... I thought he was going to come on the other side, but apparently he comes on whichever side you come on. That's pleasant. Okay. The exploration aspect is especially confusing if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't have the instruction manual or some sort of guide as well, because once you get to a certain point, you actually have to... That was really close. You actually have to go back, like, out of order, which we'll get to. This is going to be the second boss. These guys are really obnoxious to shoot. They have a weird hitbox. Again, those guys are just kind of obnoxious to actually hit. So rather than deal with them, we're just running past because there's nothing holding us back. And there's supposed to be a gun power up there, but it's not there. Sometimes the items just despawn. So we're gonna go into this boss with nothing but the gun, but the powered up gun, apparently. Okay, so this boss is one of the first ones that you can do this little trick on. This game has a couple glitches. I'm just as a demonstration. Gotta get a good shot in. Okay. There we go. So the boss is just about dead right now. I could have left it paused longer. I don't fight this boss a ton, but yeah. So pausing the game while you're hitting certain bosses with a grenade, the hitbox doesn't realize it's paused and it will continue taking damage. So, we now have the Crusher. There's two of those crab bosses, and also two frog-like bosses, and that are palette swaps. And all of those palette swaps can be killed using that trick. Hit them with a grenade. Ugh. Do not know what's happening to my voice. Hit them with a grenade. And pause the game and just leave it for a bit. It's important that you are not getting hit on that frame, because it can kill you as well. From what I have heard, I've never actually seen that happen. So just like level 1, now that we've got this power up, we need to backtrack part of our way through the level. To get to the next area. think we're almost there. Yeah, this should be it. Nope, nope, this is a different area. That's actually a great segue for this. So that little tunnel there leads to level 7, I believe. But you can't actually get to it without going kinda out of your way. And then coming back with the power-up from level 6. There we go. Okay, level 3 is really obnoxious. This is one of the... I hope I've made my point without too much argument there. Those guys are really annoying. Those little bubble shooting dudes, and they're pretty much the main enemies of this level. There's also pink worms, which drop from those pods. We're also going to start seeing more H drops here, which are your hover. Hover is going to be the power-up we get from this level, and does exactly what it says it does, but it has that little meter there. That'll look like the life gauge, or the gun gauge, and it's very finite as far as that goes. By the way, if you're ever playing this game, the triple missile shots cost 3 ammo every time you use them. Just as a heads up. Let's see, I believe it's this way. Yep. But they're really strong. The pink worms are like the gray worms, except for they can jump higher, much higher. This area gave me no end of hell when I was a kid. You basically, yeah, that happens. If you don't shoot right at them as they spawn, they tend to... There we go. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, if some of these enemies, if you don't know where they're at, will spawn right on top of you practically, and you may have noticed that in the last area with the guys who hang on the ceiling and stuff like that as well, that knowing where they are goes a long way in not getting killed by them. By the way, there's a couple little areas like that if you're not careful, you could drive into, and it's really hard to drive out. Pink's little locust dude. Okay. Okay. We are now where we need to go. So, you can see there's the pink variation on these enemies too. These take 3 shots instead of the 1 that the gray ones do. More fun with spikes. The overworld stuff has some kind of weird hitboxes just because of the way that the quasi 3D effect they're going for works. I mean, it makes sense, but the forced perspective is a little bit different than you might think it works, which makes shooting guys sometimes a little tricky. Same reason you have the stuff like these walls that you can like hug the bottom of. Those guys hurt a lot. I don't know why I walked into that spike. Apparently I'm failing. Okay. Boss 3. This is... when this boss goes well, it's very, very easy. When it does not go well, it's very, very hard. And I've kind of screwed up Bond already. You really want to one-cycle these guys. There we go. So these blocks just keep appearing and then moving around. And if you let them build up, you're in a lot of trouble. So, it's basically just bombard them with grenades as soon as they walk in the door. Okay. The hover is really sensitive. As you can see there, I was not trying to use it. You push jump again while you're in the air. But it lets you make much larger jumps. I'm gonna farm a little bit here. I try not to do too many of these farming things in my videos, but you kinda need this one. Apparently I'm doing terrible at killing these locusts, but I don't know what these actually are, that's always what I've referred to them as. They make the weird chirping sounds and fly at you. I think it makes sense. Okay. I've embarrassed myself enough trying to kill those things. And there will be more on the way. But I've got, I think, 5 hover now, which is good enough to get back. Oh crap. This might be my least favorite room in the entire level. Okay. Well, there's one death. I hate pink worms. There we go. We're ignoring them. So this is kind of one of those, the first of these little secret passages. This takes us back to this main area, which means we can get back. Lag. Bit much on the screen. But hey, that's how you know it's a good emulator. Close. Okay. Okay, so we go back to level 2. We die again. That's really not good, by the way, because you only get X number of lives and continues, and yeah. But hey, I was not planning on playing this whole game right now. I just wanted to do something to test out the new controller and have some fun, so. Honestly, just getting to level 4 is pretty nifty. I feel like that's probably enough for this, because that really shows off one of the biggest things with the game, which is this really cool Metroidvania style backtracking. So we're going back to level 1 right now. In fact, we're not just going back to level 1. We are literally going back to the starting point of the game. By the way, random thing. You can blow those up with the crusher. Oops. Yeah, that should be okay. Okay. I'm kind of... I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to be stopping, which is why I was caring less about the damage boosting. Okay, so at the very beginning of the game, there's this platform that is hovering above you that you cannot reach. And so using hover, you can go way above the first area, the exact starting point of the game. And that's where level 4 is. Now, in their defense, the instruction manual does tell you where the levels are to an extent. It just has a little simple chart that says level 1 goes to level 2 and level 4. Level 2 goes to level 3 and level 7, etc. And that is where we're going to call it for today. Like I said, Blaster Master is one of my favorite games of all time. The remake that just came out for Switch and DS, and I believe the other consoles, virtual consoles as well, is phenomenal. It is a remake of the original game, except for they gave it some enhancements, upgraded it a bit, and they forced you to explore more of the levels to get all the power-ups, but they added a lot of cool little power-ups to it. They changed the way the gun mechanic works for the little dude. They upgraded the music and graphics. It's a great game, and I would highly recommend it if you've got one of the consoles that it's been released on. That being said, I'm gonna call it for today. Hope you enjoyed this Blaster Master video. Let me know if you want more. I can look into that. If not, I will probably be getting back to some of my regularly scheduled programs shortly here. So, have a good one, and give me a like, subscribe, etc. Thanks. Bye.